Hey, I'm Caleb Anderson, and this is the Spirit Farm podcast. About your personal and spiritual development for the whole of your life, body, mind, heart, and soul, because aligning those, bringing health to the whole person is what we're after. And typically we interview people from some different walk of life. They have figured out health in one area, or they're doing something interesting in another area, or they inspire different kind of thinking and help us look at ourselves or at the world differently. But today is a little bit different. I am going to give you a teaching straight from our Spirit Farm membership program. Why? Because it's the new year. And this is kind of one of our foundational messages about wholeness and how we can really begin to think about and integrate the most important habits, the most important focuses in our life that lead to true health, which is wholeness in body and mind and heart and in soul. Before we jump to that teaching, I want to make sure that you're aware that we have an incredible opportunity for you. Free, 100% free with no strings attached. We are bringing you the first ever Spirit Farm virtual summit. And I've asked some of my favorite humans and some of the best communicators that I know in the world to be a part of this, and they've agreed to do so. It's going to be TED Talk style with like 12 to 18 minute messages, 3 of them a day over the course of an hour, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., January 20th to 22nd. January 20th, 21st, 22nd. It's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific time, just for an hour during your lunch break if you live in the West, or adjust your time schedule accordingly if you live somewhere else in the world. I want to encourage you to go right now to startstrong.live. Startstrong.live, L-I-V-E, and sign up. It's so simple. Click on a button, totally free. Just input your email address. We will send you all the information that you need, and that's it. And then put it in your calendar so that you can be there with us. Here are a few of the communicators that are speaking with me. Mike Foster, legend, the Mr. Rogers of personal development. He's fantastic. Amber Teal, the spark plug. This woman knows how to inspire you to think differently about your identity, about diet, exercise, nutrition, kind of what makes you healthy. She's fantastic. Pete Wilson, this guy led one of the most famous churches in the country, and now he's moving more to do with this digital thing and joins Spirit Farm. He's one of our primary teachers with me, and he is going to bring us an inspiring message that you will relate to and appreciate. My friend and mentor, Eric Bowles. This guy played in the NFL. Now he's a corporate coach, executive coach, and he speaks all over the country to big audiences. This guy will get you fired up on life. Chris Widener, he's considered one of the top 50 motivational speakers in the world. This is his jam. This is what he does, and he's got a new book that he wants to talk about. It's on legacy and doing more with our work so that our work lasts longer. Hillary Anderson, my wife, is going to be talking. She's just coming into her own in terms of owning her joy and enthusiasm, but also integrating that with real life, with grief, with forgiveness, with real life issues like that. Finally, Coach Dar. Coach Dar, I met here in Phoenix, Arizona. She is a coach to professional athletes and helps them with mindset and confidence. And you are going to love Coach Dar. The whole thing, the whole lineup is fantastic. 3 of those talks a day for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of January. So sign up now and then share it with your friends. Anyone can join. It's totally free. We just want to put this goodness, this inspiration, this encouragement out into the world, because I have seen people rushing out of 2020, just trying to put it behind them. But we need to think and be intentional about what we can learn, what we can bring forward, and how we can catalyze ourselves into 2021. So join us. It's going to be fantastic. Startstrong.live to sign up. And now, without further ado, here is a teaching on what it means to be whole, what it means to be truly healthy from our Spirit Farm membership program. I hope you enjoy. All right, Spirit Farmers, welcome back and welcome to a brand new year. It is 2021. Can you believe it? We did it. Well, we didn't really do anything except endure. We just made it. We're here. And there are all kinds of new things in store for So I'm excited to talk about this new series that we're going to do. This is a series of the next few weeks. We're going to talk about what it means to be whole. Now, if you've been with me for a while, if you followed me for a while, if you've listened to me for a while, it's a theme that I hit on in different ways at different times with regularity because it's important. We have to always begin with who we are because who we are is critical to our understanding of God and life and everybody else. So we keep coming back to that because if we're not who we are, then we're not fulfilling God's design for our life. We're not making the most of this life that we've been given. So healthy means whole. Here's why that's so important. As people every new year around in our culture are talking about health and particularly these days, wellness, even in the corporate environment, they're talking about wellness. They're realizing in corporate America that the whole person matters, that it's not enough just to have people sit at a desk and to pay them, but we've got to care about their mental health, their physical health, and because if a lot of times they're paying their insurance, right? Insurance bills and the insurance premiums and the cost of medication are skyrocketing because people are so physically unhealthy. Well, not to mention the mental health, and they're realizing that mental health is at an all-time concerning level in our nation for all kinds of obvious reasons, but also the emotional health, mental, physical, emotional health. That's why it's more and more common for people to go to therapists because we need to talk about and express what's going on inside of us. We have all this energy that is inside of our bodies all of the time. We have to understand what to do with it. It's trying to get out. And so emotional health is about processing those feelings so they don't become damaged, they don't become negative emotions, causing us to experience a lesser version of our lives. Mental health, physical health, emotional health, and then ultimately spiritual health. We got to talk about it. Not only do we have to talk about it, but we have to see it in its right alignment. We have to see that the spiritual, the soul, is at the center. It's really the core of who we are. If you sit and you think about it for a minute, you think about your thinking, and you pay attention, just try to be aware of what you're processing. The internal dialogue that's going on in your head, you know the dialogue. Maybe for you it's a negative dialogue, like, oh, I'm so stupid. That dialogue that's happening, you're aware of it, right? If you can hear your mental dialogue, who is it that's listening? You are not your brain. Similarly, if you were born and you were a little baby, and then you were a toddler, and then a teen, and then an adult, and let's say you put on a few extra lbs, but then you lost those, aren't you the whole time? No matter what you weighed, no matter what size you were, no matter when you were an athlete or not so much of an athlete, when you were walking and running avidly or when you weren't, when you're in a hospital and on your back, or when you're upright and physically healthy, you're you all the time. So you're not just your body, and you're not just your feelings. We know that we can't always trust our feelings. We have to pay attention to them, but we can't let them run and lead our lives. So who are you? You are the soul. You are that inner connection to your Creator, God. God put His DNA in you, created you in God's image. That's that soul connection. So we have to talk about you in your entirety, your 4 dimensions. And here's where I get it from. It's one of the most famous verses in all of the Bible. It was in the Old Testament part of the Bible when people were trying to figure out this big, mysterious God. And then it's also in the New Testament part of the Bible when God shows up and puts on skin to relate to us humans, to show us what it means to be human and how much God loves us. Jesus reemphasizes those Old Testament words, and He does it right here. The most important one, Jesus answered, and He's talking about what's the most important commandment, is this. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. One, whole. Pay attention to that. One, connected. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. Another way of saying that is body, mind, heart, and soul. It is all connected. That's who you are. 4 dimensions, one person. A common understanding of that term, wholeness, in the Old Testament scriptures was this word, this Jewish word, shalom. Shalom means peace, but not just the lack of war. Shalom means connectedness, wholeness, harmony, togetherness, unity. It's this glorious big word that just means all those things. It's this harmonious state of being. So people would greet each other in the ancient days, but also today, if you have Jewish friends, they might still use this term, and they would say, shalom, peace be with you. Which just simply means not don't go get in a fight. It just means let there be harmony with you. Let there be unity. Let there be connectedness. I hope that you thrive. May you thrive in this time. There's this story about Jesus when he was walking, and there was this sick woman who had been sick, bleeding for years and years and years, and she couldn't get well. And she was so desperate. She was despondent, and she was disrespected in her community. She had to stay away from other people because it was believed that if you bled like that you were unclean. Anything you touched was unclean. You were just shunned. And so she didn't really have friends. She was ridiculed. She was thought to be not only impure, but she was thought to be the sinful person, because this terrible thing would only happen to someone who was screwed up. Like, you must have done something wrong. So she's living with that. Not only the illness, not only this difficult thing, just kind of the ongoing blood flow, but also the stigma, the shame, the loneliness, the burden of that. She hears that Jesus is in town, and she seeks him out. And she sneaks up. He's in this big crowd, and she kind of moves her way in through the crowd. She's trying to not be noticed. Hopefully she's probably wearing something over her head so no one would see her and recognize that she's the sick woman. She gets close to Jesus, and she doesn't stop him. She doesn't grab him. She doesn't yell at him. She just touches the bottom of his clothing, this long robe that he was wearing. She just touches it, and instantly her bleeding is healed. And Jesus stops. He stops the whole entourage. He says, "Who touched me?" It is this scene like, Jesus, everyone touched you. Like, people are bumping into you all the time. And he goes, no. Power went out from me. He looks at this woman. She says, I touched you. And she realizes, I think, in that moment that she's healed physically. But then he has this moment with her, this moment that brings her soul to life. And he says, "Go in peace, woman. Go in peace. Shalom. Go in shalom. May you experience wholeness." Because she thought that her problem was just a physical problem. And Jesus says, no. This is a wholeness issue. I want you not just to be physically healed. I want you to be in harmony. I want you to feel alive, full, thriving, flourishing. That's what I want. Jesus said that this is why I came, that you might have life, and life to the full, life to the whole, life in all of its abundance, that you would thrive. That's God's desire for you. And if we get caught up in the culture just thinking about, I'm gonna run every day in January, which will be a great goal, but that's only one dimension of who you are. We have to think about these things and their connectedness: body, mind, heart, and soul. No doubt you've at some point seen one of those exercise shows like The Biggest Loser or Total Makeover, Weight Loss Edition, I think, something like that. And you see quickly that this person has a weight problem, but it's not just a weight problem. It's never just a weight problem. There's also a psychology problem, there's also an emotional problem, and there's also a spiritual problem. And when they're working out and the trainer is like, "Come on, you got this, Bill. Come on, Bill, you can do this." A lot of the time, most of the time, if not all the time, they reach a breaking point and they start bawling and crying, and they realize emotion is coming out of them, and something from their past, something that a parent or someone else said over them that's been haunting them, this tape that they've been playing in their head, that they've just associated their whole identity with being fat or overweight or whatever it is, and it begins to break, and they begin to retrain their mind, and they begin to express this pent-up pain and emotion, and maybe even connect with the God who created them and loves them. It's all connected. You see it everywhere in our world and everywhere in our culture. Let's pay attention to it for us. So as we run into 2021, we're going to set goals. You're going to set goals. You can have resolutions, or you can just try to form a new habit or two, or however you look at that. It doesn't matter to me, as long as you look at yourself the right way, as a whole, connected and integrated person: body, mind, heart, and soul. That is the journey that we are on, because that is who you are. And this can be a year of thriving, even if it's just small baby steps in these 4 areas as we bring them together in our wholeness and figure out what it means to just be who we are, a little bit healthier every day as we become our whole, connected, flourishing selves. I'm going to throw some questions up on the screen, and then we'll explore in the coming weeks what it means to get healthier physically, what it means to get healthier mentally, emotionally, and then ultimately the big one, the flux capacitor that energizes the whole thing, what it means to be healthier spiritually. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Spirit Farm podcast. I hope that you will consider what it looks like to pay attention to the whole of who you are as we start 2021, that your spiritual life, everything really comes from your spiritual, from the connection with your God, from the connection to your soul. And then from there, the emotional health, the mental health, the physical health, we need it. We need it. I want to encourage you, if you're not in the Spirit Farm membership, go sign up now. You can find it on the website, thespiritfarm.com, and just jump in there. It's worth it. There is a cost involved, but it's minimal. It's $20 a month, or you can pay $200 for the year. But we're talking about the whole of your health here. We're talking about all the different facets of who you are moving in a healthy direction. Join us inside the membership. And join us for the free the Start Strong Summit, January 20, 21, and 22. If you haven't signed up for that yet, startstrong.live is the place. I look forward to seeing you there.